Welcome to episode number 28 of the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show. Tonight we are going to have our boy Benjamin from the Chucks, Iowa team. He's going to be joining us. I obviously will be bringing also a show or a guest, I should say, to the show, an audience member as well, since we did not do that last week. And we're going to get started. What's going on, Donnie? How are you, buddy?
What's going on, Jim? How are you, friend?
I got no complaints. No complaints. How are you?
It's a little bright on the face. I'm good, man. How are you feeling this week?
Christmas was awesome. Things were good. You know what I mean? I can't complain. How about you?
Are you in a bathroom right now?
No, dude. I'm in my office room.
I was going to say that lighting is very, very clean for you this week.
Just because I wanted to show my beauty off, man. You gotta hide your beauty. I show my beauty. There's a difference.
I like to keep it low key,
Yeah.
you know? Very dim lighting makes me look better.
Absolutely. So I am gonna have to step away for 1 second though. So while I do that, why don't you introduce who's on the audience, who's on the feed, and I'll be right back in 1 second.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Uncle Jimmy, Cousin Donnie show. We've got some good stuff in the works for tonight. We've got Benny from Iowa coming on. He's a pretty popular guy in that region. Scotty Herdecki just jumped on. We got Rich Rizzo watching with us. Rich, what's going on? Mick Bales is watching. Our very own Mickey Balestri from last week, who was on the show and did a fantastic job as a guest. One of the most viewed shows that we've had in a while. People love seeing him. People love asking him questions. I want to open up the comments to everybody and just kind of thank you all for coming on in and watching our show every week. Ray Zarnick just hopped in. If you have any questions for Jimmy and I as the show kind of goes along tonight, feel free to put them in the comments, and we'll do our best to make sure we answer those. What we got there?
Little Happy Dad.
Is that a sponsor?
You know what? It's going to be soon. Little Happy Dad. For Christmas.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when you become Santa. It's a good thing.
When I become a happy dad?
Yeah, exactly.
Were you a happy dad on Christmas, Jim?
Of course. My kids had a blast. I mean, it was awesome.
Good.
To see their faces.
What was like the biggest gift that you purchased this year?
Let's see. Well, considering the kids probably got about 20 to 30 gifts each. Wow. Obviously they're younger, so they're not as expensive as they would be when they get older.
Yeah.
If I had a guess, Nintendo 3DS was one of them.
Solid.
One of them wanted that. I don't know. I bought Jackson, my middle son. It's a thing called Dribble Up. I don't know if you ever saw it, but
No.
He watches videos online, and basically it's just, you know what I'm saying, like him dribbling, and he gets points. It's a pretty cool little website thing. So
there you go.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But you're awful dark on that screen.
You know
Put
what?
some lighting on.
I should up the lights in here a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I would say so. Now that I'm staring at your flower pot.
I just got to make sure. There we go. How's that?
That's good, man.
Someone just had a little jump scare when I put myself on the camera.
Yeah. So we have Jack Doss. I don't know what he's talking about because we never tag him in the show. But
Jack,
it says stop tagging him on the post.
If you get tagged in this show, that means you're somebody, because you only tag somebodies in this show.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's part of the followers that keeps getting tagged. I don't know.
He should stop complaining about that because it's an honor.
Yeah, he is one of a kind. So before we go ahead and bring on Benny, though, tonight, I want to talk a little bit about the tournament. I'm going to be asking teams to probably get back to me by next Friday, so that's literally a week and a half. And I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to get to 12 teams. I had 9 teams verbally committed that have reached out to me and said they're 100% in.
It's awesome.
One of the best things is that we're going to try to do it Wednesday, Thursday night, back-to-back weeks. So basically you play 1 week, you're off 1 week, and then you come back for the tournament. So, how I'm going to figure out the tournament yet, I haven't figured that part out. but it's going to be consecutive weeks. So basically, you're going to play the week of the 9th. You're going to be off the following week, and then the week after, we're going to play the tournament, the single elimination. So it'll be pool play, week off, single elimination tournament. So I know a lot of people have been asking about that. Obviously, we could pick and choose the nights. If I got to bring teams back for the championship night, it's going to be the best 2 out of 3 series between those final 2 teams in each bracket. That way, everyone's driving there. They're playing 2 games. I know some people take an hour or 45 minutes or a half hour. They're going to be there for at least 2 hours, so then it's kind of worth the drive for the games, you know?
Yep.
I know Donnie and I know you and I, we've talked about that before. So I think that's probably the best way to go. And it's honestly the easiest way for people to get out there. So.
Yep, I agree. It's the most beneficial for people as well that, you know, like I've said it before, you want to make the drive out there. It's not close for some. I know some of the north side guys, it does take a while to get down south, but it's a great dome. It's a fantastic atmosphere if you are making the ride, and it's worth it if you're playing a couple games. I know even the tournaments have been good if you're playing a few games. A little bit disappointing to be one and done, but Jimmy, don't lose.
Yeah, absolutely. It happens, right? So
right.
I do want to bring up, I was at the Hall of Fame over the weekend. Yeah. I saw Al Meg out there. I saw Paul Rowan. I saw Mickey Blastry, Richie Hennessy, a lot of the old timers. They gave us a lot of appreciation for the show. Al Meg actually told me that, you know, moving forward, all guests that we have at the A level, we're able to actually offer the book that he wrote. So which is the best game on dirt. So those books are actually at the Hall of Fame, and we can start giving those out to some of our guests in the future. So
cool.
I thought that was pretty cool
for
him to offer that up.
Copy.
Yeah, and he also mentioned he would love for us to go live in March, and at his tournament that we go to March 7th through the 11th. It's that Saturday, March 9th. So I had an idea that maybe, because I'm going to be present in person, and you're going to be on the feed. I don't think you're making the trip down in March.
Where is it?
So it's in Scottsdale. It's actually Tempe area.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so what I was thinking is if we go live from the field, I can have you on the screen, and we can pretty much announce the game together as I watch the game on the phone.
Oh, that's
which
cool
would be pretty cool. I don't think we've ever done that before. So, you know, you and I are always looking for, things just to make different about softball, and I think that's something that would be cool.
It would be like the Peyton and Eli show on ESPN. That'd be you and me.
Yeah, the only problem is you wouldn't see my face, which I'm sure most people won't mind anyway. So, right?
We would get more views.
I am sporting one of the best hats in 16-inch softball tonight, though.
You frequent that hat. That must be one of your favorites.
It is one of my favorites. Yeah. Have I worn this hat before? I know I've worn other Team Jagoff hats. Maybe I have worn. Yeah. I
think so.
Once or twice. So. Yeah. Before we bring Benny on, what are you most excited about, Benny? I know Benny was a player on the Stover team, and he's now a part of the member of the new Chucks regime with Old Timer Mix.
Cool.
I don't know what they're calling themselves, so that's one of the questions I have in store. Yeah. I do have a rapid fire top 10 for him.
Okay, good.
So for those Iowa people, I did do my homework on that. Got some names. I might butcher some of the names, which is okay. But I do know most of them.
Okay.
The number 4 guy, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I think it's Siraj. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. So
he'll probably know it.
He'll probably know. I'm sure he will. So,
but
one of the guys that I wanna, we're gonna have a top 11 tonight because I wanna bring up Drew. Right? We got to bring up our guy Drew. I mean, Drew literally hops on the show from all the places of the world. Yeah. So
he actually just shared your most recent post of tagging Benny in it and put it on his Facebook for more Iowa guys that come on and join us. You asked me what we're most excited about. We want to get to know him. We want him to be exposed on the show. I think he's pretty important for Iowa softball. That's pretty cool. Drew's commenting right now. Look at Drew.
He is. So I say, are you ready to go ahead and bring our guy on?
Do it, my friend.
let's see if we'll see if we can get this to work on our first try here. I'm going to send the invite out to Benny now, so let's see if Benny can figure it out.
Russ Delude is commenting, and Kip Hildebrandt says Drew sucks, and it immediately got 2 likes.
Panda's watching. I see Chris Starr's watching. Thank you guys. Mickey's out there. Mikey's out there. TJ Rinda's out there. Ross Delute's out there. So
Jackson
we have
Perry.
a lot of guys. Yeah. We have a lot of guys joining. So I did send the adding out there. So hopefully he could figure it out because I didn't do a test run with him.
It's okay.
So tell Bunny what he has to do once the invite is out there.
Yeah.
He did send me an invite to join the show, though. So that's awesome.
That's good news. Yeah, Benny, you should see a little icon in the bottom left part of your screen to jump on the show. Russ says, a little known fact, Illinois has more cornfields than Iowa. Just ask my wife. She's also banned from Iowa. Russ Delude's wife is banned from Iowa.
Because he had to add my microphone.
Oh, that's good. That means he's putting a... That means he had to say that the phone can be used for audio.
Ah, gotcha. Well, I'm adding him right now, and here he comes to the show.
Sorry,
What's going on, Benny? How are you? Can you hear us?
Doing great. I can hear you just fine.
Perfect. Do you see him as a frozen? Up there he is.
Oh, there he is.
He was frozen for a minute, so I was getting a little worried.
No,
Benny, what's up, man?
How's it going?
Good, man. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate you guys extend the invite.
Yeah, no problem, Benny. We hear good things. I mean, obviously, I've known you before in the past, but we hear good things from a lot of the Iowa people out there. So I thought it was the perfect timing to bring you on. I know it's the holiday season. I know Iowa is true and due to my heart. So figure no better time than to bring you on right now and talk a little bit about Iowa softball since it's been a minute since we've had an Iowa person on the show.
Agreed. So you're cheering for the Hawks on Monday?
Of course we are.
All right.
So we always got to root for the Iowa Hawks. Come on now.
So, what's the cutoff line between Hawkeyes and Cyclones? Where's that cutoff line in Iowa kind of come on in?
I would say probably around the Des Moines area. You start to get over Des Moines and kind of the north areas, you get a lot more Ames individuals and people supporting the Cyclones. I mean, it can be a pretty split state when you get into the middle. Eastern half of the state, I think you're predominantly Hawkeyes, but you start to get to the west side and northern Iowa, you have a lot more Cyclone fans.
Okay.
Nice. So, I know Donnie, it's the first time you're meeting Donnie, but I know we've met in the past and we've either played against each other on the field or just kind of see each other, with the Chuck's regime and things like that. But I'm going to start off by asking a question about Stover, because I know you were a part of those Stover teams back in the day when Donnie was in diapers. And it's something that I want to hear a little bit about. I know we got some viewers out there that have been a part of the older days of softball. But tell me about those Stover teams compared to, I guess, today's team with the Chucks and the old timers regime.
It's hard to compare the two. I think one of the biggest attributes of Stover was how much of a family we were. And I saw the transition for old timer when they kind of merged with CJ's in 2019. They became a much more family focused team. And I think when you can blend those two, the athletic ability, the talent on the field with the chemistry off the field, the families, the friendships, the relationships, I think that makes your team stronger. I think that makes your team better. I think that's a big part of what Chucks has tried to develop over the last 2, 3, 4 years is that identity and culture. And I think first and foremost, you got to give credit to Joe and Drew Ladig for, really pushing that as a main staple moving forward for what Chucks is going to be built on, kind of that family dynamic, but that also plays softball together. And I think that's part of what led to the merger with some of the old timer guys.
Right.
That's big.
So you mentioned that. I mean, I know that currently right now, Stover back in the day had a tremendous left fielder.
Tony Capola, greatest left fielder to ever play the game.
Well, I'm sorry. What was his first name?
His name is Tony Capola, number 27.
Tony Capola, yeah. So how does that left fielder compare to the left fielder they have now? Because I feel like Stover always has great outfielders. It's like they breed them. And the left fielder they have now is an absolute, from what I've seen, he's been a tremendous player so far early in his day.
His name's Brady Fisher. And Brady Fisher is an amazing player. I guess the example that I would use is Willie Mays and Barry Bonds. right? Both are tremendous players, but I have a saying that the toughest thing about Barry Bonds is he's not even the best player in his own family, because I would give that accolade to Willie Mays. And I call Tony Coppola the greatest left fielder ever played the game. I don't think anybody ever had to like swing out there. He took runs off the scoreboard just by standing out there. People were that afraid of him.
Right.
That being said, Brady is in that paragraph of one of the best left fielders defensively to ever play the game in the state of Iowa.
Right.
And he keeps getting better. He keeps himself in elite shape. He keeps getting better year after year. And offensively, he's starting to get better and better, which makes him a well-rounded great player. And that makes us better as a team.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's great about Brady, but I was actually talking about Zach from Stover.
You're talking
That's
about
the kid.
Zach from Stover.
Yeah, I was talking about Zach.
So
I was comparing the old Stover left fielder to this Stover left fielder. So that's all right, but I appreciate it.
I would put Brady in that category. I think Zach, you could easily call him the best player in the state of Iowa right now, all around.
Right,
Wow.
right.
I would say, as far as defensively goes, there is just a sixth sense knack that Tony had to steal balls. I think Zach has maybe a little bit more elite athleticism and speed than Tony. Even though Tony had amazing speed and athleticism, Zach has been on a level that I've never seen play in the outfield in the state of Iowa. But at the end of the day, maybe it's a little bit of my bias because I played with Tony.
Right.
But it's enjoyable to watch both of them play. And I mean, they're in the same family. So, I mean, I think you could probably have a solid argument in their own family of who's the better player.
No, I mean, I think it's incredible because you mentioned Brady. I get to go to Yuma with Brady last year, now hopefully again this year. We call him 3-0, so he likes to swing at a lot of 3-0 pitches. That's why we call him 3-0.
He's patient. That's what we like. He's patient. He's trying to draw the walk and swing away.
He claims that that it wasn't 3-0, but it definitely was 3-0. And yes, Drew, I am drinking a Happy Dad. So it's one of my favorite drinks because I'm a happy dad. That's why.
Drew will call you out on the chat.
Benny, go ahead. Some of these younger dudes coming through, like you're talking about Zach, and what are you saying to these guys that are trying to become that level player? I mean, do you say anything to these guys? I mean,
I wish on my best day I was the level of a Zach Coppola. I mean, I'm not even his zip code. I mean, I think one of the things that I say to Zach is I know fundamentally his biggest love is playing with his friends and his family, and he would not trade that for the world. And so he could probably go play left field for a lot of different teams, maybe compete for a national title at the open level. And maybe that young Stover team will get there. I mean, if they continue to stay together and continue to build, but at the end of the day, it can be discouraging at times to play in the state of Iowa where power is such a primary focus, and that Stover team, for all its athleticism and all of its talent, doesn't have a lot of power, at least at this time. And sometimes that costs them in bigger games in the state of Iowa. And so it's either hopefully an issue they'll be able to address moving forward. A couple of those young guys either develop that power. But also at the end of the day, I know that's what he really loves is just going out there and competing with his friends. And if they lose, they lose. And, that's the way he wants to play.
The follow-up question I would have is we see a lot of guys like that here in Chicago as people that would rather kind of play in the parks with their buddies and their family friends. How do you motivate guys to make that jump to play at a bigger level?
I mean, I would say there's not really a way that you can motivate somebody who has a passion to sit there and play with their friends and their family, and that's their number one priority. I would say if you want to talk about recruiting, I know there's been a couple of times in the last 10 years when I was a part of Blitz, to even when I was a part of Chuck's, you have those conversations with players. And I think it's talking about holistically what the game can bring for them, because for me as a player, I developed my skills. I became a better player when I played around people that were a lot better than me, like the Stover guys. All of those players on Stover were better players than me. That pushed me. That made me a better player. Stepping onto a field where I'm hitting behind Joe Coppola III, that made me the best player I could possibly be because I'm always chasing something. And it kind of comes down to what you want. And I like that outside presence to push and make me excel as an athlete. And so if some guys have it, they may want to, try jumping up to a major team. I remember I had a conversation with Brady Fisher, the 3-0 that we talked about on LS Diamond too. He was looking to make that jump to the next level. And I encouraged him to have those conversations. And the very next year, he ended up becoming the left fielder for Chucks. And I think the rest is history, because Brady was a good player before then, but playing around other great dynamic players and getting around other individuals to help him grow his game has made him one of the better defensive players in the state of Iowa over the last 20 years.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic feedback.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. And you mentioned 3-0 again. He's incredible. He's one of my buds. So
3-0 is a great dude. 3-0 does. I shouldn't say he does not like. 3-0 did not like me back in the day, and so 3-0 and I have had quite a progression in our friendship and becoming teammates and stuff like that. So he's certainly an individual that I appreciate at a whole nother level now than I did 5 years ago, where it was just as somebody I competed against.
Oh yeah, for sure. So talk a little bit about this Chuck Stover team. I know some of the Illinois people
Chuck's OT
are interested. Chucks and old timers. I'm sorry. I know some of the Illinois people are a little interested in hearing about what's going on. I think that's all been official now.
It is.
Hopefully you can speak to it.
Sure.
And if you can, give us a little background on what that team looks like, what us Chicago people are going to be expecting, because I'm assuming you guys are going to come to probably 3 or 4 of the 5 major tournaments. So we're going to see you guys a lot this summer. So give us a little.
That is the plan,
if you don't mind.
Sure. I mean, I think that's the plan. I think it's a group of guys. I mean, this will be a little bit of a transition in my career where I'm not going to be one of those players that's expected. I'm more of a coach, kind of a sponsor role in some ways. And so I'm going to enjoy and embrace that challenge. I think you have a bunch of guys on this team that are ready to compete at the highest level. They want to make their mark on the game. And so I think through some conversations that Drew had with Chad Harold and Cracky, Kirkune, I think they wanted to get this group of guys together to see what was possible. And I think potential on paper, we can be a really great team. I mean, up and down the lineup, we have plus defenders, we have elite offensive players. And so I think we can bring a lot of great things to the table. Now, the word potential, it can mean a lot of different things. It's our responsibility as kind of some of the leaders on the team, and that's Kirkune's going to be our manager, and Chad Harold and I kind of assisting him as kind of like that leadership team. It's our responsibility to kind of bring these two groups of guys together and form that culture, form that identity, form that unity that's going to make us tough in some of those big games. Because when I look at our Chucks team last year, we were really comfortable playing in an offensive shootout because we had a great offensive team. This year's team, I feel we can be very comfortable. If the game's going to be 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, I feel very comfortable that we're going to put a team out there that's not going to flinch. If the wind's blowing in and a great pitcher and a great defense behind them, I don't think we're going to flinch at what that brings to us. Where last year, I think there might have been a little bit of a question of where those runs going to come from. Now, next year, we can hold the team to 1 or 2 runs, and we'll find a way to score with how deep our offense is. And so I think we look forward to the challenge. I think we're going to be the team everybody talks about, everybody wants to knock off, whether it's some of the top-tier Chicago teams or some of those Chicago teams looking to make up their own mark. We're going to be that team that they earmark and say we want to kick their ass. And so we need to be ready to respect that challenge and to step up and to meet that challenge.
Yeah, watch out for that Hex pitcher. He's a fucking stud. Just so you know.
Go ahead, he throws some filthy stuff, and it's hard to hit at times.
He throws some crazy underhand pitches, man. so crazy.
He can.
Go ahead, Donnie. What do you got for me?
So this is obviously a very motivating year. I know we're talking about, people moving up and playing bigger ball. Who's somebody that you look forward to playing with now? I know a reason I asked it is because Brady in the comments did mention that it was a 2-on-1 count, but he said, Benny, you've grown on me. That's for sure. He's lying. But Benny, who's somebody that you look forward to being around it and playing with a little bit more in a new setting?
I would say it kind of goes back to, I started softball coming right out of college. I joined a team called the Rat Pack, and Chad Harold started as the shortstop on the Rat Pack, and he transitioned into the pitcher, and I was the catcher on Rat Pack before I went on to play for Stover. And so to kind of have our paths diverge, 20 some years ago and have them be reunited, it's a good feeling. And I think we both know the challenges and how hard this is going to be in some ways to bring 2 sets of groups together. historically in Iowa, it has not gone well when teams, kind of two really good teams merge together. I would say 2019, that old timers CJ's combination is probably the best example. And I'm thankful that we have guys like Chad and Cracky who can kind of help lead us through what merging two teams really looks and feels like. But I would say being able to kind of end my career with one of the guys that I really began my career with it's a good feeling. It gives some good vibes. And Chad and I have talked about how it would be great to go out accomplishing some things that no other Iowa team has accomplished.
Really quick, too. I mean, bouncing off of that, we see in Chicago not a lot of merging teams work all the time either. Why do you think that is, Benny? Why didn't that old timers team work? Or, what does this team have that's, you already talked about family and whatnot, but why doesn't the merge work sometimes?
I think the 2019 old timers team merger worked really well.
Okay.
Especially that first year they played for the national championship. Yep. I think they only lost maybe a couple games all year up till that point. They were really good. They were really close off the field. And I think that's one of the only examples of how it did work. When it didn't work, I was a part of a team called Cover in 2011, which was Stover and Monsoon kind of blending together. And I don't know. I think sometimes I would say in 2011, I reflect back on my performance on Cover was not up to my expectations or what it needed to be as somebody who was going to hit in the middle of that lineup to be successful or to win a national championship. And so sometimes guys just don't perform up to what you need them to. And so, and I've certainly been responsible for that. And so this year it's challenging those guys to step up and not feel complacent because you have a team full of quote unquote all-stars, which really we do. If you look up and down our lineup, we got guys that you could consider to be all-stars defensively, offensively, or both. And so it's, you don't want guys to be complacent. You want guys to still try and reach another level, maybe even compete against each other in that process.
So as you merge these two teams into one, I know you guys play, a handful of Iowa tournaments. How does that? Is there going to be another team that maybe fills the void for old timers of the top two teams in Iowa? Like it was you guys and Chuck's last year battling it out. I know you guys had Stover in the mix a little bit here and there. You guys had, I think there was a team called Cloughton years ago that was in the mix. I know they disbanded last year, I believe. So what is going to be that next team that kind of steps up to play you guys on a more consistent basis?
I hope it's Hall of Fame. I hope it's Hall of Fame because historically over the last 3 years, Hall of Fame has probably been the best team in the state of Iowa when it comes to when it really matters.
Right.
I mean, they very, very easily could be national champions at the open level. They're national champions at the A level. And they played really well in nationals last year. And they lost a couple tough games, which happens, when you play at that level. And so I have a lot of good friends on that team, a couple guys that played on Blitz who continue to be leaders on that team. And that team up and down, they play hard and they are a team that is together and they're fast and they don't back down from anybody. So I think that is a team that is going to continue to improve. I look at Punch. Yeah. Punch added a couple players in Brett and Ben Rettenmeyer. Brett Rettenmeyer, if he is in shape and plays consistently at 16 inches, probably one of the top 10 players in the state of Iowa. He can be that good. And his brother Ben was a really, really good right fielder for Old Timer for the last 5 years. So you add those two guys. They got a kid named Tyus on that team that plays shortstop. That's incredible. Defensively, he's really solid, and offensively, he has a smooth stroke. And so Punch is a team from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, that I think could take that next step. And then Stover. I mean, Stover is defending a national champion. They'll step up this next year. I'm not aware of any additions they've made to their team, but they don't really need to make any because they're a lot like Hall of Fame in that they're a younger, faster group of guys that love to hang out off the field. They come to play hard. They never back down. And so I think when you transition over to Illinois, when you play in Chicago, defense travels and speed travels. Power doesn't always travel depending on ballparks. And so those are two teams, and I would even throw Punch in the mix that, could continue to not only push us or beat us, but continue to grow, their brand and not only in Iowa, but over in Illinois, hopefully playing well and performing well at some of these bigger tournaments.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, I look forward to Hall of Fame actually continuing to get better. I know they placed second in a major national, a couple years ago. They've had great runs in that tournament. And then I know they always come down, I believe, for the North-South.
They
So
do.
that's another tournament that they come down for. I would like to see them come down more often to play some of some of the bigger boys on a weekend basis. I know that travel is not cheap. Totally get it. Hopefully we can create more sponsors and create more avenues for some of those teams to make the trip down.
And I think
I know we've been pushing. Go ahead.
That's why we have to thank you guys, because shows like yours are going to continue to bring awareness not only for the game, raise sponsors, bring in more money, more revenue. I mean, individuals like myself who are kind of stepping away from the game, I'm trying to find different ways to stay involved in the game, and that includes sponsoring and staying involved. And so, yes, I mean, I think that's a big reason. I know enough of those guys in Hall of Fame. If affordability was not an issue,
Yeah.
they'd be over there every single weekend playing, because they want to play. They know the only way to consistently beat Chicago teams is to consistently play Chicago teams. And you look at an average Iowa team plays probably, if we're lucky, half the games that those Illinois and Chicago area teams play. And so it's hard to play at that elite level when you're getting half the reps that these other teams are getting.
No, yeah. No, you hit it right on the head. I can't agree more. So, but, as they continue to come down, I mean, I would love to see Stover make the trip more. I would love to see some of those other teams come on down the punch, especially for major nationals. When you play with a glove, there's no reason why those teams can't show up for that weekend and hopefully make it a better tournament than what it's been.
True. It'd be great to get Iowa just back to traveling, I'm not going to say double digits. I think that'd be a stretch, but at least maybe 6 to 8 teams over to major nationals in Illinois. I mean, I think the no glove aspect is still going to be niche in Iowa. I mean, I know our guys on Chuck's Hall of Fame. I know Stover has a big ambition to play no glove, and I hope they get the opportunity to go play North-South, because I think if you watch them play and they compete and they play well in that tournament, I think they could be a third Iowa team that could compete for one of those 24 spots. But yeah, it'd be nice to get at least getting back closer to 10 Iowa teams involved in major nationals with gloves, because right now we're getting scarily close to only it being 3 or 4 on a yearly basis, and that's not sustainable.
Right. So, Donnie, I'm going to jump into the rapid fire here. Do you have any other questions for?
I wanted to thank Benny really quick for that comment about, appreciating our show a little bit and being involved with our show. That's how he kind of stays in the loop, especially kind of during our off season is where we've kind of done a nice job and providing some messages, rumor mill, having some different guests on. Benny, thank you for the comment. And I want to tell you, we got some cool things on the way for Iowa with some of the 12-inch teams that we're talking to, coming in and playing some ball in your area potentially. And we've got some good stuff happening for you guys. So appreciate you, one, coming on with us, and two, the shout out there is real nice. I know we got some guys from Iowa. We appreciate people watching. So Jimmy, go ahead and get into that rapid fire. Everyone loves it, man.
Yeah. So Benny, I know I have not shared this list with you.
You did not.
I know I told you we were going to do it.
This should be interesting.
I got a little help from some of your boys. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to name them because I don't want them to throw them under the bus.
By the way,
but
number 4, that's Matt Schrage, not Schrage. It's Matt Schrage, I believe is who you were referring to.
Yeah, when we get there. How did you know? So the first, yeah. So he was watching. I'm impressed.
Watching. Said earlier.
Joe Caputo, number 10 on the list.
Joe Caputo or Joe Capola?
No. Capola, I'm sorry. Did I say Caputo? I'm thinking of Capola. Love it. Number 10, Joe Capola.
Joe Capola, the third, is the person who I regard as the best player that I've ever seen play the game or played against. I consider him a dear friend, and him and his family are a big reason I've matured as a person throughout my years in softball. So I have a lot of debt and gratitude towards him and his whole family.
Yeah. So before we get into the next one, I really wish someone would talk about me like that in my life. That is high praise right there.
That ain't never gonna happen.
No chance.
That's never gonna happen.
No chance.
Not with that hair. There's no chance. People are jealous, man. No way. So number 9, Mackey. Big Mackey. I know this guy. I know this name.
Matt Mackey, probably the best left-handed power hitter that I've ever seen play the game. All due respect to Mark Holstein. I'll put my money on Matt Mackey any day of the week. And maybe the quietest intense person I've ever played against. I've never played with Matt other than a couple league games here and there. So I'm looking forward to spending this year with him, but he's a very quiet guy. But also don't let that dissuade you from believing he's not intense and competitive, because he's one of the more intense and competitive people I've ever played against.
Yep. No, that's great. So number 8, Goose.
Goose is the reason why my career progressed in a positive way. Again, a guy I have a lot of gratitude towards. He came to an emergency room that I was working at and recruited me in 2003 to play for a team called Grand Slam, and that's what led me the next year to play for Stover. Goose saw something in me as a player that maybe I didn't see in myself at that time, and he's a big reason why my career started to take some of those next steps, playing for some of those better teams. Because when I joined the team with him, Dave Schoen, Pat Cruz, Mike Cruz, Tom Kennedy, that's when things got better for me as an individual and as a player.
Perfect. Donnie, I'm going to stop right there before I get to number 7. Why don't you go ahead and read some of the comments? Because I see a ton of people jumping on.
Yep.
Why don't you just say hi to some of the people?
Yep. Emilio commented on my hair. Appreciate it, Emilio. Thank you. Isaiah Dixon's in the chat. I know he previously played with Chucks. Drew Ladig has been commenting the whole time. Jason Shively. Careful of the names you asked, Benny. Randy Nelson just jumped in. Kip Hildebrand has been commenting. Appreciate it. Marty Ruvatuso, John Zawoski. Pop said if Chucks and OT combined, that might be a football team out of Iowa with the bodies that they have.
True.
And then Kimmer said, Jimmy Ralph, looks like you're sitting on what I mentioned at the beginning. It looks like you're in your bathroom. It looks like it. But Brady Fisher's in the chat, Matt William. If I don't see anybody else, Richie Arico, and Julian Russell from what I can see for right now. But
okay, I see Mike. I want to say welcome to Mike Wood, Matt Stubbs, Corey Walker. I don't know if you said Isaiah Dickerson.
Yeah.
Or Dickerson. Yeah, I don't know if you said him. Nolan's on McLean. So welcome, guys. We appreciate you guys joining on. I'm going to get to number 7.
I will say this. If you guys want any gossip rumor mill stuff, just call Drew Ladig after 9:15 p.m. That is your number one gossip rumor mill, just right there. Get him on the phone, get him talking. You're good to go.
Well, before I get to number 7, why don't we just add a 7.5? Let's just say Drew. So what's your comment about Drew? I know he could be an asshole at times, but that's why we love Drew.
I've never seen.
So tell me what you think.
I'm out.
I've seen Drew. Drew's an intense guy, and Drew is the heartbeat of Chucks, and by extension, he is the leader on the field. Great player, not only offensively but defensively. And over the years of softball, not only as competitors but as teammates the last few years, he's become a good friend. And so love Drew. We've been able to now share. I'm just a father of this last year, so I have an 11-month-old. And so Drew's got 2 little boys, and one on the way, as you're aware of, from the last time that he joined your show.
Yep.
So so it's nice to be able to pick his brain too when softball season starts about parenting tips.
Yeah, for sure. Just don't do what he does. He got in a lot of trouble last time at the show.
I got his back. He's a good dad.
Yeah.
He's
a great dad. That's not what I mean. He just don't do what he does, like hop on the show from the bar and stuff. He tends to get in trouble.
That's why my advice for the rumor mill is just get him on the phone after 9 o'clock, and you probably get some good things.
Oh yeah, no, he's incredible. So I'm going to get to number 7, Chad Hook.
Chad Hook, lifelong friend. I've known Chad since I was 2 years old. And so Chad would certainly make my list of top 5 players in the state of Iowa. I know last year he did play for Circus, and still actually talked with Chad today a little bit on the text message. And we're next time he's in town, we're going to go get some dinner at Leonardo's, and always be a close and dear friend. And so love Chad like a brother.
Perfect. Number 6, Jake Reynolds.
Jake Reynolds. I would never get into a weightlifting competition with Jake. Certainly, Black Iron Barbell, we want to certainly promote that. His business in Marshalltown, hope that's doing well. So anybody that's listening, hopefully, if you do need to move some weight, they're going there. But Jake and I have certainly had our battles, being on different sides of the fence and different sides of the field. But I would say Jake is an honest and loyal guy. I got to share some time with him in 2011 and a couple other times throughout my career as teammates. And certainly I've enjoyed those experiences.
Number 5, Q.
Mike McCune's probably one of the top 5 mentors. A lot of great things I could say about Q, man. Mike McCune was always one of those guys who spent time with me when I was more of an emotional player and probably more of a head case and the guy who was picking fights instead of playing softball. And so he was always one of those people that knew how to talk to me, knew how to settle me down, and knew how to focus my energy in the right direction. And so much like Joe Coppola III, a person that I'll always have a lot of gratitude towards for who he's been to me, not only as a friend, but just as a person in general.
So I need you to say "fuck off" to somebody on this list. So.
Waiting for you to say
that. Wait, when's Stragi coming?
He's a Cyclone fan. Matt Stragi, our boy Matt Stragi, he's number 4.
Jimmy, I'm so happy you said that because this is the nicest human being I've ever had on the show. Ever.
Well, I mean, it's about the names you give me, man. I mean, Matt Stragi is one of the better two-way athletes I've ever seen play. 6-inch softball. I remember the first time I saw him hit a 6-inch softball. It was like the second time he'd ever played the game. And there's just a few guys, I'll also reference Ben Rettenmeyer, guys who have transitioned from 12-inch to 16-inch in Iowa. I've seen a lot of them struggle. But there's a few guys where you watch them play one time and you're like, damn, that dude's special. And Matt Schragi's at the top of that list. Justin Butler, Ben Rettenmeyer, some of those guys where you just see him play once and you're like, that guy's different.
Right. Number 3.
You have Bryce Schweitzer on there? Because I'll definitely work in some fun stuff.
No.
I'm kidding.
I don't have him on the list.
I'm
Number
totally
3 is
kidding. Pro. Ryan Prohaska?
Yep.
Oh, man. Ryan Prohaska is I've never laughed so much playing softball from 2016 to 2021 when we've been on the same team with each other. Pro, certainly, I always got on Pro as a team leader for Blitz for what I considered to be pouting. But that was Pro's way of trying to encourage himself and trying to put his head down and do a little better the next time. But now he's got Sub City. He's running Sub City now.
Okay,
he's kept kind of the remnants of that Blitz team together. Stephen Devonish, Marty. There's probably about Caden Cruz, Pat Cruz still kind of helps with that team, and so they're still a very, very competitive team in the state of Iowa. And they got a couple other young guys. Kyle Nevitt, who's getting better and better each year. And so kudos to Pro for keeping that team together and keeping them competitive throughout the last 2 or 3 years.
All right, so you got to tell this guy to go fuck off, at least somebody. Number 2, umpire Chuck.
Umpire Chuck? Chuck the umpire? I mean, I have nothing bad to say about Chuck the umpire. In all of our Stover and Monsoon old timer battles, I mean, I'm a believer in you respect the umpires because it's going to come back to bite you if you don't.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing like this Chuck's team moving forward that we can do a little bit better is respect the umpires. They're not always going to make the right call. They're human beings and treat them as such. And so when you don't, I think that reflects in somehow ways in which you're treated later on. But Chuck the umpire, we could always count on him for some great calls in those Stover Monsoon games. They tended to go Stover's way, and I think it's because of the way that we treated and respected him as a human being. It just happened to transition to those results on the field.
Sure. No, it's a good point because Donnie and I, before we get to number 1, Donnie and I, we've talked about that before on the show where we felt over the last couple years, we feel umpires have been getting more and more hatred. Just in the Chicago game alone. I mean, I know we've had some incidents that's like, it don't make a whole lot of sense to go after them crazy because we're running out of umpires.
Yeah.
I mean,
we are. I was the basketball official for 22 years. I officiated high school. I officiated college basketball. And sometimes you suck like players. Like, you've seen a great player suck. They're not meaning to suck. It's just it happens. And sometimes as an umpire, you blow a call or the game speed changes and you don't change with it. And so in the state of Iowa, I know there's a few guys who umpire who also play, and those are usually some of our better umpires.
Yeah.
Isaiah Dixon. the guy that you talked about, Isaiah, he can be a really good umpire if he
Yeah.
wants to be. And so I hope more guys like Isaiah continue to stay involved with the game and choose to umpire because, like you said, we need more of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a flip side to that too, though. I mean, the flip side of that is that they continue to want more money to umpire. So as you ask for more money, there's more responsibility to actually make the right call. So there's, it's not like we should be attacking them all the time, but at the same time, they should be more correct than what they are. I mean, I've seen some bad calls over the last several years, and we all have. But at the same point, is as they continue to ask for more money, then that's why I think more and more players are getting on them the way they are getting on them over the last couple of years. So it's a double-edged sword. We need to respect our umpires more, but at the same time, if they want more money, then they should honestly continue to make themselves better as we do players. So
It's a fair ask.
Yep. And number one
Yikes.
is Brian Preston.
Preston?
Yes. So, I met Brian. I know he was an incredible running back in high school, correct?
He was.
So tell me about Brian Preston.
Well, Brian and I have always had a very antagonistic relationship towards each other. If we see each other, you're going to see a handshake. You're going to see a hug. I love Brian as a competitor, as a human being. He's a great guy. I tend to find ways to pick on people and to needle them. And Brian is certainly one of those guys. We used to have this softball website that Joe Capel and his brother Kerry ran, and he was on there as the nickname Chief, and I was on there as the nickname the Midnight Rider. And him and Brad Van Meter and I would go back and forth.
This is what I want to hear. Now, this is good stuff.
All the time. And so there was, I mean, you say a lot of things on there that, in hindsight, you shouldn't have or you regret. But in the heat of the battle, behind the keyboard, I mean, I'm not going to lose a fight behind the keyboard. I mean, I spent way too much money in high-priced private education to lose a fight on the keyboard. Now, you might kick my ass on the street. That's fine. But behind the keyboard, I am going to win. And so I always had that mentality. I had that perspective. And so Brian and I have had a lot of back and forth throughout the year. He, of course, was on the 95 carpet country team that won it all. He was a great player, Hall of Famer in the state of Iowa. And so we still go back and forth on social media from time to time. Sometimes he posts things. And anytime he posts something, I think of a way to needle at him. I try not to do it as much anymore, but back in the day, 15, 20 years ago, we would spend probably 8 to 10 hours a day going back and forth at each other as if our lives depended on it. So that's probably what I remember most about Brian is some of those. And the great battles on the field. He's a great shit talker. One of the best, he's top 5 all time shit talkers on the field, off the field. I mean, I will give the man his credit. He is good at it. Brad Van Meter, right up there. Brad Van Meter might be number 1, but Brian's right up there. And so, like any young up and comer, I want to knock the guy off the horse and take his mantle, right? I want to be the best shit talker in the game. And so that's kind of where that synergy came from.
So I know he was an incredible running back in high school. And did he not blow his knee out or something when he went to college, or did he go to Iowa?
I'm not sure the whole story, but I do believe an injury was involved, and so he couldn't pursue that maybe to the next level. But I know that I'm speculating here because I don't know all the facts, but I believe he set some state records.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've heard individuals like Tim Walker talk about how incredible Preston was as an athlete, both in high school and then as an athlete playing softball. And so,
I remember him when Donnie was in
really
diapers.
Good.
That's the second.
When Donnie was in diapers, actually.
In diapers today, too.
Yeah, I know. When you were in diapers,
he'd probably be watching this chat right now, but he's probably curled up with that 95 carpet country national championship trophy sleeping.
Probably. Makes sense. Makes a whole lot of sense. So, Donnie, any other questions before I get to my last one for Benny?
No way, man. I think
God, there's more questions.
I want to be friends with Benny just so he can speak highly of me, which is my goal. Just a joy to hear you talk about people you respect, Benny. I appreciate it. And the Iowa audience has really come out tonight with some of these comments. Clint Abel says, we love the entertainment about the chat with Chief and was it the Midnight
Rider?
The Midnight Rider. Russ Delude said he loves your mirror over your left shoulder. Jason Shively said that was pure entertainment. Rich Rizzo, what records do I hold? Man, I probably none. Drew Ladig is loving the entertainment. But yeah, we appreciate all the positivity that you've kind of brought us tonight, man. It's appreciative.
I mean, if you ever have me on again, I'll give you a list of like 3 or 4 guys to sprinkle into that list of top 10 so we can get some real fun flowing.
So like, I was gonna follow that up with if there's one guy you wanted to call out while you have the stage, and maybe just spread a little bit of a fire underneath. What do you got?
I got 2 guys.
Perfect.
I got Jake McMains and Kyle Simpson. Jake McMains and Kyle Simpson. I hope they're watching this because those are 2 guys that I think could be the best player in the state of Iowa next year, and I want to see it. I want them to compete against each other, and I think that's going to make our team even better. And so I know how hard both of them are working out to be the best player in the state of Iowa. And so if I was going to call it anybody, I'll call it somebody on our own team.
Man.
So what was before I get to my final question, what was the final roster number for this team that you guys are putting together? How many guys did you end up taking?
Well, we have 13 guys who will be like probably, I would say, more starters or starter players. And then you have myself, Chad Harold, and Kirk Hune, who will be kind of leadership. That we also could play as well. I mean, Chad and Cracky are both still great pitchers. I might be able to throw out a hit there every once in a while against a subpar team. And so I would say that there's, 16 guys that we have on there who are able-bodied individuals. We have a couple guys who will be base coaches, another couple individuals who will be on the team. So we'll probably have about 20 guys in uniform, I would say.
So did my guy, the shortstop from Old Timers,
Brandon Dutton?
I'm sorry?
Brandon Dutton.
Did he make the roster?
Brandon Dutton is not on this team, no.
No. He is one of the best drinkers, I think, of all time.
Dutton is good stuff. Dutton is hilarious.
Well, yeah, he is good. Is he not playing next year?
I don't know about his drinking prowess. He's a hell of.
Oh, did we lose him?
No, my phone battery was going a little bit low. I don't know about Dutton's drinking prowess, but he's a hell of a player.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So the last question I ask all the guests on the show, just because it's kind of like we started out, now it's just tradition that we ask. So if you had one thing you wanted to change to improve softball, what would it be?
This is a unique one, but I would have the runner be able to advance on a pickoff. And what I mean by that is I think it would encourage young and quick teams to maybe hit and run a little bit more, try and get that runner away from first, away from second, away from third. Now, you can pick a guy off right now if you're trying to do that, but there's no benefit to a guy that overthrows it. And so if you have some younger, faster teams who could then maybe advance on an overthrow or the ball skips by, I think that adds an element or a dynamic that kind of incentivizes teams to be a little bit more aggressive. And so that's one small tweak that I would use that might create a little bit more offense, and it might give some younger teams a little bit of a, hey, they can hit home runs, fine. We can take big leads. Hey, we might get picked off, but maybe that throw hits me or it skips by or we get a couple extra bases. Just a way to get the game moving a little bit quicker.
Wow, that's a different view. We have not heard that, have we, Donnie?
No, that's a very unique angle. It's interesting. It wouldn't benefit me at all. I'm slower than shit, but it would be cool for the fast guys.
And in Iowa, we have some guys with speed.
Yeah.
We have some teams that have speed that don't have power. And when you play in Iowa, if you don't have power, you're probably going to struggle unless Mother Nature blows the wind or, straight in throughout the weekend, which at times it does. But I think speed and defense can be a great equalizer. And so anything we can do to maybe even those odds a little bit. And I think that challenges our team to find ways to be a little bit better because now teams are putting pressure on us in different ways.
That's an incredible idea. I mean, I know in some leagues in Chicago we do play with, if you get picked off, you could steal, you could advance. Mm-hmm. There's certain things, but most of the SSA or ASA or anything that we do at the tournament level, usually there's no steal on any pickoff. So it does make you think twice about throwing over there, and it does give an opportunity for that. So I mean, that would be cool to see at some of the other levels.
Something to consider.
Yeah.
Don Goose Flanagan said the USSSA tried advancing on pickoffs and it was a big failure.
Thanks, Goose. Appreciate you.
Way to just throw you right under the.
Yeah, here,
Jesus.
there we go. Hey, Goose, fuck off for that one, Goose.
Hey,
Goose,
hey,
Goose can fuck
we
off
got
for that
one.
Come on, Goose.
Yeah,
Come on.
got one. So,
I hope
how about Kip? Kip says umpires in Iowa already have enough problems worrying about more rules.
I think
That's a good
Kip,
one, too.
I think Kip brings up a very fair and accurate point.
Yeah. So, but hey, Benny, we always ask anyone that's on our show if you have any questions for Donnie and I. So this is the point of the show that you can ask us any questions, anything that's on your mind about Donnie and I before we let you go.
What's the number one thing that you guys enjoy or would like to see different, better about Iowa softball moving forward? Whether it's involvement, whether it's it can be anything. Just what would you guys like to see improved, change, or be different moving forward?
Donnie, you can go ahead and answer that first.
I would like to be exposed to the local tournaments you guys have a little bit more. I want to see your teams. We get to see Chucks and Old Timers and those guys, people that come over here. I want a chance to learn about some of the mid-level A teams, high-level A teams that don't get a chance to come and play in Chicago that often. And where can we watch the games? Because you guys support us great in Chicago. I think you would have a fantastic time getting support back from us on your live streams, or if you guys do something like that or keep stats and records and things like that where we can see them. Also, one more thing, I would like to see some of that. You talked about Joe Corolla, right? I'm sorry?
Joe Capola.
We both messed that name up, Jimmy.
Yes, we did.
We got Joe Caputo. We got Joe Corolla.
Joe Corolla, sorry. I apologize. But I want to, where can we find some of those like older games that we can watch, or, where can we get some exposure to those games?
Yeah, I'm not sure about it. I mean, I know some old like still photos we have and stuff like that. Old footage. I mean, I might have to ask. I can certainly send an email and see if we have some old Stover video out there somewhere. Q might be a great guy to ask for that too. He might be aware. I know there's some old Carpet Country videos out there about their national championship teams. Now, Stover, we played for several national championships, but I'm not aware of any like taping of those.
Yep,
right.
That would be my biggest thing. Yeah.
So shout out to you guys for starting the streaming of this on Facebook, because I think that's been huge exposure for the game.
We definitely appreciate that, and I'm going to go ahead and answer your question too. I know before I do that though, Drew says, "Come experience these fences and get bounced on Saturday, Donnie." Drew, you better watch yourself because he's coming with Team Jagoff. We know that won't happen. So, but either way. What I would say, my ask for Iowa, I would, to Donnie's point, those mid-level teams and above, I would like to see more of those teams come for a major national. Even if it's, there's a lot of A teams that play in the major national, but I think that's the only way those teams can continue to get better, right? Playing you guys in Iowa with fences, it's probably not to most of those teams' advantages. But when they do come down here to Illinois and the fences are 300 feet, it's a little bit different. It's, it's something that I think those mid-level teams could get a good experience from. And let's have a major national tournament with 40-plus teams. I think that would be awesome. And we have a complex in Inwood and Joliet that is incredible. I think it's the best complex in softball. I mean, it's got a beer garden, bar, whatever you want to call it, right in the middle of the field, which is awesome. Cool. There's a lot of cool things that go on at that. And they got, I think, 5 or 6 fields that we have access to Saturday and Sunday. So I know they're all turf. They'll all be able to, accommodate all those as well. So it's a huge opportunity to continue to grow that tournament. I know we're asking some 12-inch teams to come in for that tournament. And that's just a better way to expose the game and get the exposure out there. Just to get some new teams, new blood. And just to your point, Sub-City, those teams can compete with some of our mid-level A teams or above.
Another team like Cedar Rapids, another team like Westside. They have a really good team. They got some good young players. They got some really good vets. They got some good coaches who were part of all those great CJ's teams. And so I think I don't know if it's affordability, if it's availability of players who maybe can travel on those weekends, but I think that's a team where if they traveled a little bit more, had a little bit more exposure, you would see that they're a really good team, and they could upset a few teams, get some maybe get a little bit of juice flowing, and helps them look at the future a little bit more positively. As opposed to just playing 2 or 3 tournaments in Iowa.
You got a lot of good shit talkers on this Chucks team, so I kind of like it. Jason, it was funny because I was shitting and throwing up in the first 3 to 4 innings in the Chucks game this year. I don't know, I either ate bad or just was too drunk or whatever it was. I have no idea, but I never felt that way in my life. And when I came out of the bathroom, I think I told your first base coach, Jason, I think you guys were up like 4 or 5 runs in the last inning, and I told him we were going to win the game. And I think he almost shit his pants because we tied the game in the 7th, in the bottom of the 7th, and we had a guy on first and third or second and third or first and second with 1 out. We needed 1 hit to win the game and come back and walk you guys off. And unfortunately, we couldn't get that hit. We went 9 innings. You guys won by 1. But I think your first base coach, Jason, who just commented, almost shit his pants that day because I did tell him in the 7th inning we were going to come back and win. And he just pointed, yeah, you did have me nervous. Yeah, absolutely we did. So
actually,
we're looking forward to the Marshall
story. I think he had to go back to the hotel after that game, change uniforms, and come back. I think that's true.
Me too, because I think I was doing the same thing in the bathroom. I felt bad for that bathroom down the right field line on whatever field that was. So I think Drew was the worst. He was the person that did not want to see me come out of that bathroom. So, but that's okay. We had a blast and it was fun. We always do. We have a blast every year. We'll be back again this year, and we can't wait. So, Benny, I appreciate you joining us, man. Awesome time. We're going to have you on again. I know Donnie and I really appreciate the comments. And
yep.
Hey, Donnie, hopefully he says these nice things about us when he's in Iowa.
Never in a million years. I mean,
Jimmy, Donnie, I appreciate the opportunity. Certainly will say nothing but glowing remarks about not only your show, but the experience here. So appreciate you having myself, and hopefully our paths will connect down the road.
You're the man, Benny. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You guys have a great night. Happy holidays.
You too. Happy holidays.
Later, buddy.
Pretty good dude, huh?
Didn't have one bad thing to say about anybody.
I know. But you know what? That's not always a bad thing, really, right? We're just so used to Jagoff that yeah. Well, hey, that's what makes us go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, that was awesome, man. It's good to hear about this Chucks Old Timers merger. I think it's going to be a pretty cool thing to see. And hey, man, it puts another top 10 team right at the major level. I think that could win a tournament, which is awesome. So
it's good for the game, in my opinion. We get a lot of the times where you come up against an Iowa team and they're relatively unknown, and a lot of the major teams think it's a cakewalk just because we don't know any of the guys, or that team's going to come firing. That's going to be a really difficult team to beat. I would hate to draw them in the first round of any tournament because that will be a short one. That's going to be a really good game for a lot of the Chicago teams. And what support from the Iowa guys on this stream, man. I mean, tons of comments coming in from Iowa. We appreciate everybody for kind of checking in and being there for us, and it's been awesome tonight. So appreciate the support from everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he was awesome, dude, right?
Yep.
I mean, hopefully we can continue to help them, support the game out there, get more sponsors, do those things that we've, while we do the show, right? So it's awesome to see. But we're at the point of the show now where we want to bring a guest on, and that's going to be our last guest of the night.
Yep.
We're not going to have a business section tonight just because we knew Benny was going to be a little longer, just because we had a ton of questions. So why don't we – it's actually your pick. I picked the last one. So why don't you pick, Donnie, and who you want to bring to the show?
Trying to see who's on with us. I don't have all the names. I know earlier we had Vito Iovino on, was watching. He would be cool to bring to the show. Just a younger kid, just one, no gloves. We thought about bringing the fiance on. I don't think she wants to do it tonight, but we'll have to prep that show for sure. When we can have someone shit talk me for like 30 minutes straight when everyone wants to do that.
Right.
Right. Whoever, I wonder if Vito is still on here. I think Vito would be nice to kind of chat with.
I don't see Vito as someone that I could bring on. I see
Steve-O Rodriguez is in the chat. That'd be cool.
Someone.
Go ahead.
This is who I got. I got Philip Clayton, Greg Mara, Coyle Greenwell, Mickey Bales, Michael Hendricks, Sidney Stock, Junior, Ryan, Nate Plum, Adam Olson, and Pops Alejandro.
Okay, a couple of past guys on there. We were trying to maybe get like a Chicago guy to kind of balance the show for tonight, or it could just be Iowa night. It's your pick.
Yeah, it's fine by me. I'm fine with.
I know Peter Corral maybe is watching.
You know what I was thinking? Maybe if Johnny Ecke is still out there, maybe if we can bring him on. I'm gonna see if he's still watching. It'll let me know here if he's not.
Bring Doc on. Definitely not Nate Plum. Maybe we'll let the audience decide. We have plenty of viewers right now. You guys pick. Jason Shively says bring in Michael Hendricks. How about you guys decide who you want to see?
Michael Hendricks. I don't see his name anymore.
Bring on Jason Shively. We can bring on Jason.
Yeah, Jason was the game we were just shit talking. So.
Bring on Shively if we want to feel smarter.
You know what? Shively's not on his phone. He's probably on a laptop, or iPad, so I don't see him on the group, unfortunately. So if he jumps on his phone, I'd have no problem bringing on Jason.
Pops. Russ Delude is still watching. He always watches and comments.
Have we had Russ on yet?
Nope. We have not. He's probably in the cop car right now.
Let me see. He might be putting his kids to bed.
Russ is probably out patrolling the streets.
I will send the invite to Russ. He could always decline it.
Russ is always opinionated. Russ is entertaining. He'll jump on.
He, let's see. Let's see what Russ is doing. He's always on the show making beautiful comments.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no. Oh. That's awesome.
What did he just do? He answered. It looked like he was in the cop car.
He said the kids are sleeping. He said, "Oh shit!"
And then jumped off.
Yeah.
What's
what are
up,
you doing,
fellas?
dude?
Hang on.
Where are you? In the night?
I'm in my kid's room. My son, he's sleeping downstairs playing his fucking PS5.
Nice.
Hey.
Do you have any lights in that house or no?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to turn on this fucking light. Hang on. I need to use my phone light to. There we go.
There he is, dude. When you had the hair, man, I tell you, dude, you were a good-looking dude. I don't know what you did.
Well, that's what I said. I got to bring it back because, like, when you took your Team Jagoff hat off, there was no flow. So I'm just like, I got to bring it back.
Yeah, dude. You know what I'm saying? Actually, hey, by the way, happy haircut to me. I got a haircut 2 days ago.
Oh, looks good.
You and the
Looks better with
kids,
the hat
right,
on,
Jim?
but-
I'm sorry. Yeah, me and the kids. Yeah. Oh, you
All
did
at the
see
same
that
time?
Snapchat, didn't you? Yeah.
I follow you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Russ, what's up, man?
So, what's going on, Russ?
Hey, is the future wife yelling at you over there?
She's always-
or I see
She's always kind of, putting it on me a little bit for concentrating on other things other than her. But,
All right.
well, that's another battle for another day, okay, Russ? You don't have to bring that up in front of all my friends.
Hey, you must not be watering those flowers in those flower pots, man.
Right here.
Hey, I wonder what is the over/under on how many beers Russ Delude had today? How many beers do you have today, Russ?
0.
Oh,
Hero,
love it.
you're working today?
No, God no. I'm off to the new year, man.
Nice.
Oh, beautiful. So, I know you've played softball at many levels. You've been a part of softball for 20 years, 15 years, whatever it's been. Tell me what you like about today's game.
Oh God. That's a tough question, dude. Honestly, nothing. Nothing. There's so many teams that aren't there anymore from when I started playing like competitive softball, and it's nothing against the top teams. I mean, I was a bench guy on Signature like for the last couple of years prior to last year, but I mean these top teams just they pick up these guys. They have 2 full starting rosters on their teams,
Right.
and maybe that's how it's always been. But I mean, the cream of the crop, like you gotta let people go. I mean, when I started playing, you had Elite, Jinx, and I know Hex is pretty much Jinx right now, but I mean, there's a lot of teams that aren't like Roadrunners. I mean, Roadrunners was a top team at the time. Iron was a top team. Iron's still there, but Iron's a younger team now because they lost a lot of guys. I mean, is it commitment? I don't know, because when I first started playing, we had to play every freaking weekend to make it to nationals. So it's what's going to make the game better.
Yeah, no, you bring up a lot of good points. There's a lot of good teams that is no longer around since we started, and commitment, I think, is a huge part of those teams breaking up, and then some of those players on those teams just not being able to commit or just not good enough. And unfortunately, there's some teams that just disband because you know how it is. You got friends on the team. Certain friends are not good enough to play at the next level. Some are. And the best thing to do is probably just disband and join another team so you don't really hurt anyone's feelings, Richie Rizzo put Woodpeckers as another one that was a quality team back in the day. I think we could probably, if we sat here all night, we could probably list 20 of them, right? So
the team that I started playing with, Vision, like if we never lost Brian Davis to, at the time, Windy City, like who knows what we could have. We could have been a easily top 5 team in the league. So.
Right.
Russ, you've been around the game for a while, and I see you're a social media guy. You're always on Facebook commenting on stuff. And how do you think social media has? Yeah, 100%. I didn't want to say trolling, but yes. How do you think social media has kind of influenced the game, like positively or negatively?
Well, I mean, we've always had the internet. I mean, like back then, like we had the Illinois Softball Report websites where everybody had their fake website or like fake screen names to where they would comment. And honestly, like when that website went down, the game kind of just lost its like muster. Like, I mean, there's no fun to it anymore. Yeah, Pete. I mean, Pete tried bringing it back on Facebook, but everybody knows who everybody is. So,
You're saying it was more fun when it was anonymous?
I mean, look at like you had Paulie's elbow after Paulie threw his flying elbow to what's his name? I can't think of his name right now, but I mean, and then Frank's pencil. Like it was just. I would log on to that almost like every day just to see like the funny comments that people were coming up with, just to have some fun with softball people, Like I don't know if I ever really commented on it, but
yeah,
good time. It kept everything interesting.
No, it makes sense. I mean, and nowadays it's like everyone knows who everyone's is. It's just kind of a little different. Yeah, to that point, I agree. I mean, it is a different world nowadays. That's for sure. So. But, Donnie, do you have any questions for Mr. Russ?
Russ, we talk about Rumor Mill a lot. I think he's muted right now, actually. Russ, why don't you go ahead and unmute that for us really quick? It'd be really important if you weren't...
Just tell him to hit the microphone.
Hit that little microphone button in the corner there, Russ. Unless you're really good at American Sign Language, then we can have one hell of an interview.
I never had that happen before. Gatz goes mute.
He just muted himself. And he just quit.
Yeah. That's awesome. He's probably having problems with his phone.
I have one more question for our guy Russ. I've known Russ a long time, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Is he trying to jump back on really quick?
I think he is. Yeah.
Is he giving up on it?
No, I don't. He's coming right now. I think he had trouble with his phone where it just muted him.
There we go.
And he's muted again.
Still muted.
Oh, bro. He's blowing his big shot. Look
Russ,
at this. That's awesome.
I know you said you haven't been drinking, but are you telling the truth?
So, hey, he can respond in the comments since he can't unmute himself.
Unmute. There's a little that microphone button.
There we go. There we
There
go.
he is.
There he is.
Yeah, no. My phone, like I got the alert that it was dying. So like when I clicked that, it must have went on mute on its own. I'm just like, why can't I hear any of you guys? So I left, trying to get back, and I could hear you guys, and then here I am.
There you go, my bad.
The question.
Donnie had a question for you, and so did I, and then we had 2 more questions for you, so try to stay unmuted during that time.
I'll try.
The one thing I was going to ask, I know you kind of stepped back from playing major high-level softball last year, just kind of over it with the signature stuff, and I've been a good friend of yours for a long time. It was weird not seeing you around. Who can we look forward to seeing you play with this season, if anything?
I don't envision myself like coming back to play the major game anymore. I mean, I had a blast playing with Bankroll last year, going out to A, showing you guys my flow at A Nationals.
Incredible flow.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not drawing a lot of attention for people to pick me up. So, I mean, and I'm fine with it, Like my wife yelled at me a bunch, like, quit playing softball. So I took a step back. And last year I was home and she's like, what are you doing here? Go play softball. So I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, make up your mind. Like, what do you want from me? Like, do I play softball? Do I not? Like, what?
I guess if you had to play with the team.
I have no idea what to do. Like, I mean, I can't make that. No. I can't make her happy, apparently, ever. We're getting to it, Donnie.
We're getting really deep in here, Russ. If you have some deeper issues and you want to talk after the stream, you give me a call. We can. Yeah. I'm always an ear for you.
But I will say this: like, one of the first teams that I played with, like in park leagues, was with Donnie's dad. Yep. Donnie's dad was an amazing man. He told me, he said, if you want to continue to have fun, stay playing park leagues. Don't jump to that major level. And for whatever reason, I didn't listen to him. And when I took a step back last year, I saw what he was talking about.
Right.
Like, I mean, I had a blast last year. Like, granted, like, I only knew a couple guys on Bankroll, but I mean, it was fun. Like, I got to show up when I wanted. I mean, they play all the way up in Itasca, so living in Plainfield, Romeoville area, like, that's kind of a hike.
Yeah.
But like going out to the A tournaments, I had a blast with them. So
I saw your wife just jumped on the feed, so I wanted to tell your wife how much you were just telling her how much you love her and respect her for watching the kids and doing all she does for you.
I think Russ said,
you guys,
thank you, Miss Delude.
You guys obviously didn't hear her in the background yelling at the girls to go to bed.
I think
that's
what
okay.
You said is
that's her job. Remember?
I no longer satisfy her and make her happy, is what you really said.
Yeah. Yes.
So Russ, really quick, I'm gonna do a top 3 with you. I don't have tons of time for a top 10, but I got 3 names that just popped in my good old head over here.
All right.
Number 3, Mickey Balestri Jr.
Oh, fucking Jagoff. No doubt about it. I have him in my phone as Jagoff softball.
There you go. Number 2, Shorty Durad, Joe Durad.
Fucking maniac, dude. Back in the day, there wasn't a bar he wouldn't piss on.
I haven't heard Shorty's name in a while. That's a really good callback, Jim.
Yeah, he's still
he's still around.
Some.
And number 1, since you've already brought him up, and he ruined Vision softball, Brian Davis.
Oh God, I love Brian, man. He's my son's godfather. So
okay,
no ill will towards Brian.
All right. Well, Donnie, do you have any name you want to throw at Russ before I ask my last question?
Come on, Don.
I got one.
Give me a good one.
I got one.
Oh shit.
George Vernasos.
Gio, huh? Free Donnie, baby. Hashtag free Donnie.
Hey, Gio made the show tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Gio's on there?
No.
Oh, shit. Gio blocked me from commenting on one of, the live streams, man. I don't even know what I did, but I got blocked. He's like, I didn't block you. I'm just like, all right, whatever.
Didn't you play for Mudville?
I kind of for a couple of like dome games, and then I went back to we were Rewind, so he wasn't too happy with me. Gio liked to talk to me on the phone. I was more of a texter. So I think I sent him a text, and I'm just like, dude, like, it was a long text or an email or something. I'm just like, man, this just doesn't inform me. Next thing I knew, I got a phone call.
Yeah, it is.
But I love Gio.
He's harmless. You know,
the reason I say his name and bring it up is because you are a Facebook guy, and I know that you comment on a lot of things, and you don't hold back, Russ, and that's what I appreciate about you.
Hey, that's what I try and do, man.
Yeah, you're not going to get arrested.
Oh, hey. God. Dude, all right, listen. Funny story, all right? Funny story. Christmas Eve, I got myself I've had a Santa costume, right? And there's a bunch of kids in my neighborhood. So I dress up, throw it on, like I got like the fake belly and all that. I'm fucking walking around town, just going to the houses I know that have like kids to get on like their Ring doorbell. I go to the last house. I'm crossing the street to go home because I'm on a corner. Next thing I know, I got 2 squads rolling up on me. I'm like, are you shitting me? So, yeah, Santa got the cops called on him.
Were you stealing things at Santa, or were you actually dropping gifts off?
I told him, I'm just like, this isn't like next Friday. Like, I'm not out burglarizing shit. Like, I'm off duty, dude. Like, leave me alone.
I hear you. So before we get to my question, actually, I'll ask my question now, and then I'll ask you the last thing, I guess. So if you had one thing you wanted to change or improve in softball, what would it be?
Roster sizes.
Okay.
Limit them. That's the only way you're going to get more teams out there, because too many people are just chasing that no-glove trophy to where they're jumping onto the top teams, and like it's killing the talent pool of other teams. Like I get it when it comes to like sponsorships and stuff like that to keep teams going, but that's in reality that's going to be the only thing that helps the game. Because I mean, you still have managers that are out there that are going to the top teams too that want to run teams, but they don't have the talent pool to keep up with the signatures, the Flash, the 45s, the hexes, and stuff like that. So
makes sense. No, that's a great point.
But no offense to you two being hex and signature. Donnie, sell out, you fucker.
You're right.
You are a sellout, Donnie.
You're right.
That's okay.
I'm proud of it. Though. I'm proud of it.
That's okay. So questions for us, Russ, before we let you go. Is there anything you want to ask this beautiful haired individual, Donnie Rollins, or this handsome dude with a Team Jagoff hat?
When am I going to get the invite to Team Jagoff? I think I'm a bigger Jagoffs of softball with the way I troll people on Facebook. I mean,
very true.
You know what? We're always looking for drinkers in Iowa, so you're more than welcome.
Well, that could be a vacation away from the wife since she is not allowed in Iowa.
It's only 48 hours.
Is that true?
Self-imposed.
You have 48 hours away.
Okay.
That's really what it is.
She's
about 48 hours.
I think. Well, she tries to sneak into Iowa, but we try not to let her.
I understand. So
she's still watching?
No, that I don't know. But either way, Ross, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for jumping on.
For having me on. I've been harassing Donnie for weeks to get on here, so
true.
I appreciate it.
We wanted to bring the guests to the show, and I appreciate it, man. You didn't disappoint, so thank you so much.
All right, guys. I'll see ya.
See you.
All right,
bye,
thank
Russ.
you. All right, my man. So before we let go and get off the feed tonight, the show, is there anything you want to say or anything you want to recap from tonight?
As always, I always like to mention to follow us on social medias. I am creating a TikTok for this page. I know I've been saying that for 2 weeks now, but I will do it. Uh, I will do that for you guys, so we have some clips and stuff from our shows. I think that's going to do really well for us. Thank you guys for following us on socials already. If you haven't, share the page. As you know, we're trying to grow this thing and have shows consistently. That's it. I appreciate it, as always, Jim.
I just want to piggyback what you said. I mean, everyone who's watching right now, go to our page and invite all your friends on Facebook to like the page. The more exposure, guys, we can bring around the game. This is for everyone, not just for Donnie and I. I know we had people reach out to me, I know in the last week, about other just different sites and things that we can do to go live stream on all the sites, which is awesome. So I've looked into that now, and the only concern I don't know, Donnie, is that if I do it, will we be able to be like multi-screen like the way we are now and bring guests to the show? Because I know I can live stream across multiple complexes. I just don't know if that feature allows it. So we're going to have to figure it out and try it. But we took a step in the right direction from what we were asking last week. I had people reach out to me, tech people and so on. So, you know, it's awesome to see. And, you know, please get out there, guys. Go to our page and just invite your friends to like our page. The more exposure we can bring around 16 softball, the better it is for all of us. And I think, Donnie, you hit it on the head tonight when you said how we're trying to bring more teams. Just perfect example to the Iowa tournament, the first weekend of June. And I think we are in the right step for that. I believe Kelly, who we'll have on here again in a couple weeks, every 5-6 week check-in with her. And hopefully she'll be raffling off a couple invites to that tournament. And, you know, we could set up the hotels and a lot of other things for them. So I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, man. It's exciting stuff. And appreciate the guests for coming on tonight. Even Russ, no matter how drunk he says he was or wasn't.
Yep.
We always appreciate seeing Russ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Benny was fantastic.
Benny was awesome, and I think the Iowa viewers really like that. I mean, I think he had a lot of good points, and man, the guy didn't have a bad thing to say about anybody.
No,
and that's just awesome to see. So, Merry Christmas, my man.
Yes,
Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.
I know I probably won't talk to you, but you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
We won't have a show until 2024.
That's awesome. I'm excited for 2024, man. Appreciate you, Jim.
Happy New Year, my man, and yeah, we'll chat, dude. Thank you.